A note: following advice from Work-Life Imbalance may lead to action being taken by HR, your family, the authorities, or higher powers.
Welcome to Work-Life Imbalance, an advice show focusing on workplace and lifestyle issues. Any resemblance to actual advice, living or dead, or actual wisdom is purely coincidental. I'm your monstrous manager, Frank Eastman, all by my lonesome. Today, we'll have a best-of episode featuring segments from episodes 15 through 20. All the laughs, little of the exposition, and a great opportunity for folks who don't want to troll the back catalog for more workplace advice that will get you fired from two guys who ought to know better. And ordinarily, we're not like one of those, gender roles homes where, the outside grilling is the man responsibility.
The man's job. Yeah.
So I had to hum "Now You're a Man" to myself as I went outside.
Be a man, something to coursing river.
And I was like, I'm not a manly man. I don't know anything about cars or other such manly pursuits. And then I opened up the grill and was like, looks like the burner's a little rusty and the spark box is...
Did it just you just had this epiphany of manliness? It's like, these are things I recognize. Holy shit, maybe I am manly.
I went ahead and set up the other grill. See, the first grill, we're getting back to my non-manly man.
Okay.
The first grill has been kind of fucked up and busted since we bought the house, which was, at this point, I think 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I have been consistently saying, I'm going to go out and fix that grill. Oh, look, it's been 7 months. No longer grilling season. I guess I'll have to save that one for next year.
Wait till next year, yeah.
So we have a little tiny charcoal grill that is literally small enough that I take it outside and I sit it on top of...
on the table.
The other grill. I sit it on top of the closed lid of the other grill most of the time. It is... I am low renting it up and down the block.
See, I support this. This is a great thing. Specifically because I'm thinking of the human parallel of basically you getting a new job and them just sitting you on top of the dead person who did the job before you. And you having to do the job while sitting on their corpse. That is basically what I'm envisioning here.
That's pretty much it.
All right, so today in the deep dive, wanted to discuss mandatory team building outings, like those escape rooms, which I will say I have had 2 rounds of doing escape rooms with coworkers, and the last thing I wanted after successfully or unsuccessfully doing the escape room, the last thing I wanted was to be anywhere near them. I had been trapped in a room with them for a fucking hour. And you think I want to go back to work with them? No, I want them to drive off a bridge before they get home. Maybe that feeling will pass. Maybe it's temporary, and after that, what's left will be a warm feeling of camaraderie. But in the moment, I'm like, you motherfucker, you didn't see that thing hanging behind the chalkboard.
I will say that these are a goddamn political minefield.
They absolutely are.
I actually kind of detest them for that reason, especially stuff like company picnic.
Oh,
the company picnic is an old hoary standard, and it's just so tough with those because you need to show up, because often if it's a smaller organization, everybody from the CEO on down is going to be there.
Yeah, your absence will be noted.
Yeah, and your absence will be noted, so you want to go there long enough to be seen, but not long enough to be like miserable for the rest of your day.
It's a very fine tightrope to walk.
I don't have hair anymore. My hair and I broke up, a good 20 years ago.
I'm guessing it wasn't amicable.
The hair said that they were leaving, and I said, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, and shaved my head.
Nice.
But that does mean that I'm sort of like prone to sunburn, so all this like, hey, it's beautiful outside, and by beautiful we mean it's 85 degrees with full sunshine. Let's all hang out outside.
Right.
That kind of shit is completely fucking nightmare for me.
But there are some other outings that are far and away much worse than that.
How about laser tag?
Christ, man, that's where I was going. Oh, laser tag!
I somehow knew.
Oh, there is just...
Yeah, this is a fucking nightmare for me. I don't know how it is for you, but I've had to do the laser tag before.
Uh-huh.
And we have discussed, I am not necessarily of human proportions.
Right.
Like, there is no dimension on me that someone doesn't measure and go, that's outside of the standard deviation. And so getting into like the little laser tag vest, getting into the little laser tag vest is like big man in a little coat.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm not, I'm a large guy, but I'm not like, I don't have the inhuman proportions for most of my body parts that you do. Except for one.
Heyo.
You can cut that if you want. Look, we had to make a dick joke in there somewhere. We're talking about proportions. It writes itself.
Your left pinky toe. We know it's really weird and uncomfortably long, and honestly, slightly creepy.
Makes shoe buying very difficult, and flip-flop wearing quite a disturbing sight.
See, now I'm thinking, because I'm keying off of your whole concept of where office versus office with different offices would probably be a better way to do this.
Okay.
And I'm thinking if we had enforced, required inter-office battles of some sort, that would be great for team building.
Absolutely.
Not optional. You are forced to attend in the same way that you're forced to attend the company picnic.
Right.
But it is in the nature of we now have to go and raid other corps.
There is no downside to this, in my opinion, but I don't necessarily think that it's about team building. I think at that point it's just like corporate espionage or corporate assault disguised as a team building
activity. If the stakes were high enough, I would be totally about this too. Like if we could get some amount of their profit for the year by whoever won, and we were playing paintball, like I just want to see Janet from accounting screaming in anger as she charges across the field with her paintball gun.
My God, I would watch that. Like if that was a show, I would watch the shit out of that.
I think I'd watch this show too, because that sounds badass. Like two advertising agencies going head to head, not in a competition of who's the better agency, but in something that they're just not prepared for, some sort of guerrilla warfare tactics demonstration.
Man, I could totally get behind that. We need to send a letter to somebody. I don't even care if we get any profits from it. I just want to see this exist. And you could get really diverse with the type of stuff they were doing. Like you can do some sort of physical combat. I think whatever they're chosen to do, I think it has to be like something that they're not good at. Like the software guys. Anything physical would
outside.
Work. Yeah, anything physical or outside would be perfectly fine. Then you have like physical sports and things like that, or battle scenarios would be bad for like the construction workers and stuff like that, because they're going to be a little bit beefier than everybody else. So it'd be a little more prominent to them. What would they do? What could we have them do?
Let's see, some sort of skill-based fine motor control.
I mean,
I'm
we
thinking
can go back
RC
to the
car races.
I could get behind that, or I was thinking more like a competitive cake decorating. I think
there we go.
I
That's
think
even better.
Yeah, that's a finesse thing that I'm not saying that you can't be both a construction worker and have a love for pastry craft, but I'm just saying that it's not an obvious choice. So you may be the sleeper. Like there may be somebody on your team that is like could go in and just crush a bake-off, but you got to keep it quiet.
Joel had been dreaming of this day for his entire life.
He didn't know he was training for this, but by God, it was his destiny.
This is beautiful. I think we definitely need to try and get this show made. At my job, I sit with one other person in the office. I often have to do some repetitive tasks in spreadsheets and find that putting in headphones to listen to music is a way for me to be able to focus to get this done. My office mate can see I have headphones in and will often try to talk to me anyway. I can't pretend I don't notice because our desks are positioned in such a way where we are very visible to each other. Sometimes I will take my headphones out. As I feel the conversation winding down, I will slowly begin putting them back on. This has not been successful in stopping further conversation. What can I do to make it obvious that headphones equal no talking? Sent in by Headphone Hindrance in Homewood.
Yeah, this is a topic that we have kind of tangentially glanced off in the past. I think that may have been like step 4 or 5, maybe, in my my ladder of disengagement. But
putting the headphones back on.
Yeah, putting the headphones back on.
Yeah, you are filled with the milk of human kindness, whereas for my part...
Okay, I know that's a phrase that people use, but can we just stop for a second and realize how odd of a fucking
it is a terrible
is?
phrase. That's why I use it. It is it's an old Shakespeare bit.
I don't like other men telling me how full of whatever milk I am. It's not necessarily how I want to spend my time. But go on.
I'm thinking let's upgrade our setup a little bit.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get some blinders.
Like for a horse?
Like for a horse, you can put them on some glasses.
Okay.
So you've got your glasses on, and it's got giant blinders. You got your headphones on.
We're assuming this guy is not an air traffic controller. Like, putting the blinders on for the air traffic controller, probably not the best deal. But I mean, I'm assuming this is some sort of, like, technical office, generally speaking.
Yeah, and if we're doing data entry into a spreadsheet, I don't think peripheral vision is necessarily a big boon at this point.
We can definitely say that is the case. Like, peripheral vision is not required for the general purpose of the job.
And then I think you get a top hat and some of those fabric markers.
Okay.
Or the puffy paint pens, and you just write "fuck off" over and over again on the hat. And then it's your fuck off hat.
I was wondering where the fuck you were going with that. But no.
And so you've got your blinders on, your headphones on, and your fuck off hat on, and hopefully people will get the point.
See, I think that we're being, that might be a little, maybe not too bold, but maybe just a little bit too on the nose. You would think that just wearing the fuck off hat would be enough. Because that's, I mean, it's literally written in plain English, fuck off as many times as can fit into the appropriate space on the top hat. At that point, if you've got your fuck hat, oh God, not your fuck hat.
No, that's a completely different hat.
Don't wear your fuck hat to the office, generally speaking. Unless that's your job.
That's like a low ivy cap.
No, it's a fedora, obviously.
Oh, no. But sacrifice a chicken, summon up the devil, and then make a deal so that this person loses their voice.
Oh.
Not in like I'm hoarse, but in like the Little Mermaid just can't speak anyway.
Okay. I mean, I see that being somewhat effective for the short term. But then they could still probably chat, okay, no. Let's go one step further. Lose the ability to use and understand speech. How about that?
I mean, that's going to make it a little difficult for them to keep their job, at which point they'll probably have to be replaced, and you've now wasted a perfectly good soul.
Yeah, because because then the new person may have the same problems. All right, so
Exactly.
maybe they can. Oh, see, this is tough because you don't want them to be able to communicate with you. Like that's the end goal. But I guess them, having the capability to understand speech is important. Yeah, so leave them the ability to understand speech, but leave them unable to express that in human language. Okay.
I think this is a Harlan Ellison short story.
Okay.
That we're talking about at this point.
I'm not getting that reference, Frank. I'm sorry.
Oh. For I have no mouth, yet I must scream.
Ah, yes. And it's silly because I actually saw something about that, like, literally today. And, see, like, literally, no, I'm not even shitting you. Like, I literally saw a reference to that today in some YouTube list. See, that's the thing. When I'm watching YouTube, like, it doesn't matter how educational the shit that I'm watching is. Like, it just goes in one ear and out the other. Like, in that 10-minute video, I feel learned, but as soon as I flip to the next one, I mean, it's probably about fart jokes, so it just pushes all that stuff that I learned completely out.
My God, I'm so smart. Oh, look at this kitty. It's got short legs.
So I think we should, his deal should include the stipulation that he can, the guy can only communicate, can only express things through interpretive
dance. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we're in tune. In tune.
This is beautiful. Slight warning. This one will get blue. So this is sent in by Christopher Plumbus. My $700 sex butt was in my car when it was stolen. How do I itemize that on a police report? I received a letter from the court saying that the person who stole my car is being tried.
Wait.
No. No, we can't stop.
Okay, just plow through.
Okay. I received a letter from the court saying that the person who stole my car is being tried, and that if I want restitution, I need to give them a list of the property and how much everything cost individually. I worked at a sex toy store and ended up buying this twerking butt, partially because it was hilarious, but also I wanted to know what a $700 sex toy was like. Needless to say, I'm embarrassed. Yes, that is needless to say, to put a sex toy in an official statement. I am also not sure how to quantify the sentimental items, which, why wouldn't you say the sex butt was sentimental?
I mean, yeah.
like home movies and photo albums that were in the vehicle. I also don't
twerking sex butts.
Twerking sex butts. I also don't have any receipt or way of proving what was in the vehicle, and I don't want to be accused of perjury. And then there's a small update underneath. The guy from the state attorney's office called to say he needs a list of the items and losses. When I told him I didn't have a receipt for my $700 in italics, it says personal massager, he told me to send him a link to the product so the judge can see what it would cost to replace it.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, there's the gold. There's the fucking gold.
Man.
Holy
no.
shit. All right, what order do we want to tackle this in?
Oh, my God. I don't know.
All right,
this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Oh, so, okay. First things first. If you have a $700 sex butt, keep it at home. I mean, not because, I mean, the urge to use a sex butt could strike at any point. So I guess you wanted...
Where will you be?
Where will you be when the urge to use a sex butt strikes you? But no, I mean, just for something like this, like, I mean, you could be in a wreck and you could damage the sex butt. You could leave it in the car and it's not built for, like, heat, and you could damage the sex butt. I just don't think it's responsible to keep something that expensive and that
seems
necessary.
Like it's very, very irresponsible to keep your sex butt in the car. I mean, here's me. Like, I'm one of those people that, to some extent, there's, the old make sure you wear clean underwear every day. What if you get in an accident? And like, I know that my luck is such that somehow if I got in a car accident, the cause of death would not be the car accident itself, but would be impact by sex butt.
Just that phrase is, I'm just glad that phrase exists. Killed by impact with sex butt.
And I mean, that's the kind of thing that goes on your permanent record. I think you get to the pearly gates and they're like, you led an exemplary life, but everyone inside has heard. And for your safety, we're going to have to send you to hell.
One part of this that kind of strikes me is, so they bought it, because it was a goof. That's part of the reason they bought it. I don't necessarily think that's 100% true. Like,
I was going to say, that's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying to provide some distraction. But like, how much money is too much money for a goof? Like, I mean,
it depends on how committed to the bit you are, Derek. Because
this person seems very committed. Like, they're practically in a relationship with this sex butt. So
yeah,
that's committed.
I admire their commitment to the bit at that point, that they were willing to put $700 on the line.
Do you admire their commitment to the butt?
No. No, Derek.
Look,
here's my thing. I think if you are shameless enough to have purchased the $700 sex butt, you should be shameless enough to claim and itemize the $700 sex butt.
I agree. It would be my luck that if at any point I purchase something as salacious as a sex butt, even if the adult store was 3 minutes from my home, my only goal is to go in, buy the sex butt, and get it home as fast as possible. I would get in 2 separate fender benders in the 3 minute span from the adult toy store to home, because that's just how it will be. Oh, here we go. The most embarrassed that you could be about this sex butt is if you buy it and then you don't have a vehicle, you have to take a taxi, and you get in and it's cash cab.
Oh, no.
Oh, would that not be great, though?
I think that would be a very special episode of Cash Cab.
Yeah.
So I'm giving us some thought, and I think this is a brilliant way to pump up your recompense, because no one in their right mind is going to claim an erroneous sex butt. Like, it's just not going to come to anybody's mind to be like, yes, I don't have the receipt, but included among my personal possessions that were stolen in theft was my $700 twerking sex butt. And so even if you don't own it, if you are willing to claim it, that's $700 free dollars. On the other hand, if someone were like, here, have this, and it happened to be in my trunk, at that point, I would be like, you know what? That's great. Someone has managed to get rid of that sex butt for me.
They have manually regifted the sex butt.
Exactly. I was going to have to regift that one again anyway. Like, if I were to get a job in banking in England, where like the black 3-piece banker suit is de rigueur, I would be completely fucked, because as we said before, like, suits for me are going to have to be bespoke, and I would have to make primo dinero in order to be able to pull that shit off.
Or you get one and then you eat your lunch very, very carefully.
Every day,
and keep Febreze on hand, and you can basically get a full week out of that suit, and then have it dry cleaned on the weekend. And obviously that's fraught with all sorts of problems, but I think you could possibly. I mean, shit, I do it with jeans. Like, I have 3 pairs of jeans, but sometimes one pair of jeans may make it the whole week. You never know.
Oh, no, Derek.
I mean, if I didn't drop mustard on them or shit in them, I mean, by and large, nobody's getting close enough to notice. That's all I'm saying.
You know,
Frank.
there's that whole thing where, like, the designers talk about how you shouldn't actually launder your denim, and they're just like, because I've seen this, and it's the most terrible thing that I've seen in recent memory, where they're like, yeah, if the jeans begin to get an odor about them, you just fold them up, put them in a bag in the freezer overnight, and that will fix the problem.
I remember
and
hearing
I'm like,
that.
you know what will
I
fix
remember
the problem is washing your goddamn clothes, you nasty monster. I want to take off April 20th. You know, 420, the weed day. I want to take off for it so I can smoke weed. But I live somewhere where it is not yet legalized, and taking off could be suspicious for work. How do I take off for 420 and not raise any eyebrows? Sent in by Smoke Sesh Stress in Selma.
Oh, boy. See, now this is a fun one. I was hoping that we would do this one in enough time to squeeze it in before 420. Yeah, this one,
you know me,
this
baby.
was kind of an interesting one. So the cops on campus had this moment of, like I said, deep human kindness, where on 420 people would go out to the quad and just openly smoke weed. If somebody was doing it like blatantly,
blazing it.
Oh, that's a nice little pun I made. I didn't mean to make that, but if they were, kind of like towards like the main road or something, and they were just like, like double fisting two spliffs and just like blowing clouds of marijuana smoke over the main drag, they probably drag.
There you go again. You're on a roll.
All right, we have. I think we've met our quota of unintended weed
really
jokes.
shitty weed puns. I was going to say, I thought you had a 1997 Honda Civic that you had turned completely into a gravity bong, but I guess I was mistaken.
Wait, what would a good name for that be? Civic Wagon 97. I mean, Weed Wagon.
I was going to say Civic Duty seems like... It's not Civic Duty, Civic Doobie.
There we go. We got there. The Civic Doobie.
Yeah, just got to workshop a little bit. It's good.
So I think that you can definitely provide some sort of like smoke screen for this. So on the day... Oh, Jesus. I swear to Christ, I am not attempting to make these. I couldn't make a weed pun if I tried. If you schedule in advance some sort of really embarrassing test at a doctor's office, I think that if it is adequately embarrassing enough, I think that the office will just completely, they'll feel sorry for you. It's like, oh God, you may hear your boss express, oh yeah, I had one of those. Some guy was 3 knuckles deep in me last week. I feel your pain. So you may get that uncomfortable interaction. But I think overall, yeah, you could probably get away with it. I mean, you could say you have some sort of some other weird test. But
no, y'all, I gotta go to the urologist tomorrow in order to get my dingus looked at on account of I got the erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to be checking up on on how your appointment about your dingus went.
Although then you might have like a really uncomfortably close conversation with your boss, especially if he's like a guy in his late 40s to mid 60s.
Right. All of a sudden, I've got a few extra of these. Do you want some? They'll help with your problem. And he just gives you like a bottle of blue pills.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I cannot count the number of times it's happened to me. And it's always really odd whenever it happens. Of course, I take them.
Yeah.
And then immediately down the whole bottle.
Yeah.
While in the office.
There's nothing to get you out of work quite like priapism. Like, oh no, guys, I'm going to be out tomorrow on account of I've had this erection lasting more than 4 hours. We've all seen the commercial. But first...
Oh, God, my water tastes terrible. Oh, Jesus. Oh no. Oh, I thought I cleaned it out, but apparently when it was in the dishwasher, there it was washed with teriyaki chicken night dishes.
Oh, no.
This may be the meatiest water that I've ever had.
That's good. The water's got body.
I mean, I get that, but I didn't want it to be chicken body. That's
Water's got that good umami flavor.
Oh, God. I mean, I guess I did need a little more protein, but not like this. Oh.
I wanted to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart.
Chest hair.
Yes, that is next week. Chest hair and styling. I was
How much gel is too much gel for the chest hair?
There's gel, and then there's like styling glue.
Or like a nice pomade.
Yeah, I'm a Dapper Dan man myself.
If you didn't make the joke, I was going to. So.
I was going to talk about
near to your heart.
Plumbing or home plumbing repairs.
All right.
So
go right ahead.
And I say near and dear to my heart because my main bathroom is currently all fucked up.
What horrible things have you done to this toilet, Frank?
Oh, it's not the toilet. For once on this fucking podcast,
it's not about the toilet.
It's not the toilet. No, I've had a slow drain in there for a very long time, months, and then the tub started getting slow.
Oh no!
I have been trying to get the stopper out of this tub for months. So this thing is basically impossible to get off.
Oh no.
I was going to insert a joke. I decided not to. We can all be proud of me later.
Your self-editorializing is really improving, Frank.
But at any rate, the crux of the problem is there was like a little screw that's under the stopper itself, which means you've got like a half of inch to work with, and there's this screw.
I'm sorry. You can't say you've got a half an inch to work with. I'm not mature enough to handle that statement. Oh.
Oh, fuck.
Go on.
This is not the part of the proceedings that I thought was going to be funny, but here we are.
You don't get to choose what I laugh at, Frank.
But, I tried unscrewing it. No, it's all rusted. It's stuck. I sprayed it down with some penetrating oil. Still couldn't get it loose. The head of the screw started stripping. So I got...
Boy, I did not realize that plumbing was so salacious.
Is a dirty, nasty subject. So I couldn't get the screw out even with like a screw extractor bit. And I finally got so frustrated that I just reached down and sheared the son of a bitch off with my hand, yanking it out of the tub.
Oh, wow. So you just...
It is rare that I Hulk out, but I have spent months trying to fix this son of a bitch, and then there was nothing in there.
Okay.
Which meant that my problem was deeper. So I don't know, have you ever snaked a drain?
Oh, baby, you know I have.
The problem is that I have the internet, Derek. And
isn't that always the problem?
You go onto the internet and you look up your problem, and then there's a lot of people saying, this is very simple. You can do this yourself.
Oh, that's
horseshit. Why on earth
shit.
Would you call a plumber?
Yeah, that's absolute horseshit.
And every once in a while, Derek, I'm a dum-dum. Yeah. Every once in a while, I'm like, you know what? I'm not a complete fucking incompetent. I can probably do this. This guy on the internet forum said it's easy.
I mean, you did almost fix a grill once. I mean,
almost.
You got pretty close, so it
Real
did
close.
produce fire. Way more fire than you intended, maybe, but it did produce fire.
So I decide in like my infinite genius to go ahead and snake the drain myself. So this involves a tool, an auger, like a hand snake is what they call it, and I've got one that's about 15 feet long.
Wow.
Yeah. Who knew plumbing was such a fraught topic?
I mean, I was going to make a joke a minute ago when you said you had to snake the drain. I was going to ask if you had more than a half an inch to work with, but, you know.
After I grabbed it real good, I did have more than a half inch to work with. Because what comes out of this drain is a substance that will haunt my nightmares until the day that I die. I got religion that day because I saw the devil.
Oh, my God.
The devil came out of that drain, Derek. I washed the towel.
Okay.
I washed the towel twice, and the towel was still dirty. This is a spiritual funk.
This is no mere mortal funk. This is an evil, evil funk.
This is the opposite of soul glow.
Oh, God. If my hands were soiled as such that the smell would not come off, I may just have to go amputate the hands, because I can't take bad smells. Well, I mean, you know, except for the ones that I produce, I mean. But everybody likes their own flavor. I mean, that's a disgusting way to put it, isn't it?
That was a disgusting, terrible way to put it, Derek. Hire a professional, no matter how easy the plumbing may seem. It is not a thing that you want to tackle without an old priest and a young priest.
All right, today in the deep dive, I want to discuss desk decorations. Essentially, I've got like a couple of Rubik's Cubes. I'll have like a picture that Jessica has drawn for me or something like that. And recently, this Christmas, you know what this desk decoration is, but it's the light up one that looks like a health potion.
Yes, I've seen that.
And it's nice when it's lit up. It looks cool, but when it is not lit up, it is a kind of an opaque, milky look.
Yeah.
So
no,
it looks
I mean,
like I have a little glass jar of jizz.
this is true.
Desk.
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything about it on account of it was a present
Frank.
and everything.
You literally said that when you saw it. Don't act all high and mighty. You literally
Okay.
said, "What's with the jizz in the jar?"
Not going to let
Acting
me
like-
front about being professional, I see. I would not necessarily have more personal possessions at your desk than can fit in a printer paper box.
I mean, that sounds completely cynical, but that really is fairly pragmatic.
It's simple logistics. Like, if you've got to bounce real quick for some reason, your reason or their reason.
Or as I was about to say, voluntary or involuntary.
Exactly. You want to be able to put all of your stuff in a box and do the classic walk to the car carrying the printer paper box under your arm.
Right.
And it's just not a good look if you've got like 5 boxes and a couple of push carts and, like a team of horses. I'll be honest, when I left the job where I had, gone all out on my decorations, that was kind of the problem.
Right.
Because it's kind of hard to leave in like a huffy, dramatic fashion. When you're like, fuck you and everything that you've ever touched in your entire life. And could we get 3 or 4 people to help me carry all of this shit to my car?
It's like I still fucking hate all of you, but Jim, be very careful with that box. It's full of it's full of my katanas. After the second box, then people are like actively trying not to look at the person as they drag their earthly belongings out of the office.
It has become an uncomfortable black comedy. At this point, we have had to restart the Hulk walking away theme 3 times while you get your 6th box, Janet.
Because it's not a very long song. Like,
it is not.
So you have to keep restarting it.
So
okay.
I would say, if it was like the boss's boss's boss at a previous job who I had to turn into an animal, it would probably be a sloth.
I wasn't asking what their spirit animal would be. I was asking what you would turn them into as some form of punishment.
I figure a sloth, because here's the thing. The sloth is so slow that moss grows in his fur.
Right.
And that's just gross.
I mean, you're not wrong. And plus, if they have a penchant for doing, damage and stuff like that, they would be much more slow to do it. Because, what was it? If Zootopia is any indication, it'll take them a long time to get their bad ideas out of their fucking mouths. So
that goddamn movie. Oh, jeez, man. I had to see that movie a lot.
I mean, that Shakira gazelle.
Yeah.
That shit's my jam. I am completely kidding. I am 100% kidding.
That's all right, man. This is a judgment-free zone. You can come out as a furry if you want to. In other news, does anybody listening want to co-host a podcast?
It's like, of all the ways that I got kicked off the podcast, this was at least in the bottom half of the list.
No, I ain't going to hate on furries. They get enough
especially
shit.
If they listen.
One of
your furry friends.
One of our grand 3 listeners is a furry, and they're like, well, fuck those guys. And we have now cut ourselves in third. In my time, I have seen people do some boneheaded, fucked up, terrible bullshit that I was like, oh, I guess they're gone. Goodbye, George. It was nice.
This is the one.
Nothing happened. They asked him not to do that again. Like,
I didn't know that was an option.
That's fucking it.
Jesus.
Like, I stole a Hot Pocket out of the freezer, and there was a goddamn inquisition. And this son of a bitch brings down the entire corporate intranet. And they're just like, please don't watch that anymore. I do know that Japanese bathrooms, they're kind of sensitive to sounds, and often they have some sort of soundscape going on, like, but I'm talking like beautiful, babbling brook or rainfall or some shit, so that nobody has to hear you taking a leak in the next stall. I don't think that's going to necessarily cover up death metal.
If I had experienced this when I had first kind of gotten in the industry, I would have thought, oh yeah, they're embracing change. They're really trying to get up to date with cutting edge technologies, all that shit. Now when it, I was about to say when or if, but when something like that happens, I'm typically kind of the guy that's kind of sitting in the corner, everybody else is celebrating, and they turn to me, it's like, Derek, aren't you happy about this? Grizzled look on my face, maybe some, my beard is growing long. It's like, oh, summer child, winter is coming. I'm prepared for the winter the winter that follows.
My bosses think that I am squirrely as hell because I'm constantly like, oop, something changed.
I don't like
need to start polishing up that resume.
Yeah.
Welcome back, friend.
Oh.
How was your journey?
It was good, except for the last moment. Like a genius, I decided to grab a piece of...
I thought you meant me talking to you.
Oh, that was also
way to
good.
turn bad.
No, I grabbed a piece of black licorice as I sat down, and I was like,
why the fuck would you do that?
I don't know.
Even if you weren't recording a podcast, why the fuck would you do that?
Sometimes I'm a dum-dum, Derek.
Yeah, if they are your child, you have to tell them, don't I don't know. What the fuck do you say to your kids, Frank? I don't know what parents do.
As little as possible, generally. No, I try to keep them off of the internet as much as I can because I know the internet is a terrible place.
I mean, just carte blanche, that is a wise move.
But yet they still somehow access it, and they generally are coming back with knowledge from the internet that I neither understand nor countenance.
It is too late, Father, for I have seen. And so there's a new cartoon called OKKO. And it's a great cartoon, by the way, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out. So it's a cute little show about like little budding superheroes, and it's so cute. But they had an episode that was completely devoted to like this one villain who made constant nu metal references. And I was like, this is one of two things. This is either for the adults that are watching it with their children to say, oh yes, I remember that, or this is like the first sign that it's going to come back. And yep. I just want to like run out into the street with like those crazy guys that are holding the end of the world is near signs. Like just hold up. It's like, corn is not okay. Please don't bring this back. This deserves to die in the 90s.
Just let it go into the darkness. Don't bring it back.
My boss, who is a female, is obsessed with getting all employees to pose in bikinis. But I'm a guy and won't do it. Now she wants to suspend me. What the hell? I work for a small firm with 16 people. Last night the boss told us she wants all employees, whether they're guys or gals, to pose in a Brazil flag bikini to celebrate the Olympics. Obviously the Rio Olympics. I work with 6 guys, 10 women in a small business in an office. I told her no, I'm a dude, but she was quite insistent about it, and she said, I've got to do this. I have to get us into the papers. I'm a guy. I'm a guy.
You don't understand. We need the viral content. This is for the clicks.
We need to go viral. I'm a guy, and a bikini would be quite awful on me. Even my girlfriend agrees on this. She said the boss has a fetish. Now she wants to suspend me unless I do it next week on Wednesday. I'm worried this will go viral. Am I wrong to be worried? So the boss wants them all to pose in bikinis. They want to get it to go viral, and this guy is worried that it will. Wow. So Frank, what would you do in this situation?
Well, there's the what would I do, and there's the what would I suggest should or needs to happen.
Okay.
Because what would I do? I would have my reservations certainly and significantly, and then I would become a meme, and I would get my 15 minutes. Those 15 minutes would be like, my God, check out this cropped picture of this monster wearing what looks like a Wookiee costume and a Speedo.
If this was me, I'm not going to say I'm the most like body positive person in the world. I mean, I know that there are some things that even that are not scantily clad that I don't want to wear for fear of looking stupid. But I think this is the cause that I would lean into real hard. Because,
oh yeah.
Because if there's one thing that would go viral, just because of my bad luck, it would be me in 4 square inches of fabric, like that. It's not going to be the good work that I do. It's not going to be a funny joke that I say. It's going to be me in the least amount of clothing that could be considered clothing.
especially nowadays, I think you just got to kind of learn to lean into the opportunities as they present themselves. And yeah, I would definitely be like, well, I guess this is how it's going to go.
Make sure you get me at my good angles because, yeah, we're only going to do this once.
Although sometimes these things, they don't go viral, and for that you're thankful. Somewhere, unreleased to the public and not on the internet, are short snippets of me dancing in an ill-fitting fireman's outfit for an unreleased ad that never really got made. That never saw the light of day, for which I am thankful, because I'm fairly certain that was of Jesus Christ, look at this quality.
So I'm not trying to comedically leave you out to dry here, Frank. I am just struggling to comprehend the string of sentences you just put together. You are telling me that somewhere there exists a video of you in some sort of stripper fireman's outfit dancing around to some campy music, or in the worst case scenario, they hadn't added the music yet, and so it's
I think the music wasn't there yet, because
silence.
it wasn't. This was never a completed video. This was like an initial shoot for an ad that never got made.
So is this like a motion only thing where like you're just like dancing around happily in silence as onlookers are horrified? What?
I mean, you don't want to see behind the curtain how things are made, Derek. It's not pretty at the best of times.
So I'm not going to ask you to okay, no. I'll ask you off
I
camera.
couldn't produce this if I wanted to. Like,
okay,
I'm fairly certain it has been erased from existence. That's why I said sometimes you luck out. Sometimes this shit doesn't actually get into the public eye. Like, I saw it, and I was like, oh shit, please, just let that not get out onto the internet somewhere.
I'm still struggling to come to terms with what I'm visualizing, Frank. I'm not saying that seeing it would make it go away. It's not like if you've got a song stuck in your head, like go listen to the song so it gets out of your head. I'm just saying that like this is something that may haunt me till I die. At some point 10 years down the road, you may have like some like private eye like sniffing around your garbage, and you'll find him, you'll corner him, you'll ask who hired you. It obviously will be me, and his sole purpose
will be to try and find the fireman video.
Yes. I'm not going to tell you when, but it may happen.
Oh, Derek, just believe me when I tell you that it doesn't actually exist anymore.
That's for the PI to decide. Frank, before we get to the daily stand-up, I have an important announcement that I feel I should share with you and with our listeners. My house smells like farts, and it's not my fault.
It's not your fault for once.
For once. No, we just finished our meal prep for the week. Jessica decided that it was a great idea to do Brussels sprouts. So, now, at least for tonight and for the rest of the foreseeable future, my house will smell like farts. It really does require like a fucking priest to come and exorcise the stank out of your house. Like it is ridiculous. I will try to fight through it and be funny, but if I'm overcome by the stink, Frank, I'm putting the responsibility on you to call in help.
How are you cooking these poor Brussels sprouts that have done nothing to anyone that the whole house smells like sulfur?
I'm not familiar with the different types of Brussels sprouts or whatnot, but if you take shredded Brussels sprouts and they touch any heat source, if you walk them past a candle, then they will begin to emanate fart smell.
The like devil's confetti.
Okay, that one got me. That is now the permanent name for Brussels sprouts, in my opinion. The devil's confetti.
I am the age that I am, and I'm soon to be older in a little bit of time. It was only within the last, I would say, year and a half that I found out that Brussels sprouts come on a stalk.
Yeah, it looks like those like jingle bells. Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, it's fucking freaky as hell looking. I will hand up. I would have until that moment thought that Brussels sprouts were just little tiny cabbages, like just the little tiniest cabbage known to man, and they just grew in little rows. And I was like, man, Brussels sprouts are a bitch to harvest. And then I saw some on the stalk in the store one day, and I was like, you got to be fucking me. That's how Brussels sprouts come.
All right, the title.
All right, hit me.
The title is "My Child Just Purchased an Actual Tank on eBay" by What in the Actual Hell.
All right.
Yeah. So their username is What in the Actual Hell. So very, very on point for this one. So I got a phone call telling me that having a tank delivered via transport would be at minimum $500, even though they were paying the shipping since it would need vehicular transport. I asked what they were talking about, and they told me this address phone number ordered a Panzer tank from them on eBay and already paid the fee. My only child is my 13-year-old daughter, who says she saw a $34 tank on auction that was like 10 inches, not the real tank. He has already paid the shipping, and it's being shipped at this very moment. He told me there were no shells in it, and it was small enough to ride as a car. And that it was a lucky...
What the fuck?
Does anyone else use eBay or know how I could stop this before it's too late? My daughter doesn't need a tank. I love the selling job that this guy does. It's like, there's no shells in it. It's small enough to ride around in as a car.
It's probably not going to fuck up your yard too bad. I want to live in a world in which this is a problem someone actually had.
I agree.
But the world is a better place when some lady is trying to go to the internet to figure out what to do with her unwanted tank that her 13-year-old daughter bought. Because at some point, she's going to need a first vehicle for learning to drive.
Absolutely.
And honestly, what's going to be safer for your precious baby to learn how to drive than a decommissioned World War II tank? And the thing is, after she has got it figured out, like, if you can parallel park a Panzer, she ain't gonna have no fucking problem with her Tesla Model 3 later in life or whatever.
So when I took my driver's license test, I got it almost perfect, except for one thing. They said that when I was backing up, I didn't back up with enough confidence. If I was in a fucking Panzer tank, you bet your ass I'm going to be backing up with confidence. I'm doing everything with confidence.
I don't necessarily need to pop on over to eBay and get a couple of Scud missiles for pennies on the dollar.
I mean, especially like $34. Like, if you're going to sell a fucking Panzer tank on eBay, you got to set the reserve at least like $1,000. Like, come on. I mean, this is basically like somebody's allowance. Like, she spent her allowance to buy a fucking Panzer tank.
What you don't understand, Derek, is these tanks are priced to move. We've got to get these tanks off the lot and into the hands of buyers. So the question I have for you, Derek, is what is it going to take to get you in this tank today?
God damn, the tank's priced to move. God.
I think being an adult is having the agency to eat ice cream for dinner, but also then the wisdom not to eat ice cream for dinner.
Right.
And that sucks.
It's awful.
That's awful. Don't grow up, guys.
All right, so today on the deep dive, we're going to talk about bad bosses.
I can tell you already, Derek, that I'm feeling kind of attacked.
Okay. I feel like I've been pretty lucky. I think, I've had a lot of bosses in my past, and I think, I think that I can count the number of bad bosses I've had on one hand. But I will say, those fuckers made up for lost time because they were...
There's a lot of bad bosses, but one of the things that typifies a really terrible boss is an unquenchable hunger for human flesh.
kind of the hallmark of a good boss is that whenever blame and accolades are to be passed out, they will take the blame and they will pass along the accolades.
You know what those folks are called in management circles?
What's that?
Suckers. Also alternately known as rubes. There's a guy at this barbecue restaurant with his tie over his shoulder. Is this a thing? Sent in by Bewildered in Birmingham.
So this is not one that I have dealt with a lot, because I think I've worn a tie 5 times in my life, and every time somebody has died. So, I mean, it was at a funeral, so like, kind of a chicken or the egg thing. Did the person die because I was about to put on the tie, or did their death precipitate it? I'm not sure. It's kind of lost the annals of history at this point.
No tie was involved in the wedding?
Okay, that's the one time I wore a tie where somebody wasn't dead.
Or was that sort of a conceptual death of old Derek, your youth?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. My wife doesn't listen to the podcast. I can say that.
Derek shows up at my house with a box of his shit. Like, apparently she does listen to the podcast.
She picked this one of all things to jump in at. If you walk by a barbecue restaurant, you smell like barbecue for the rest of the day. So if you're in there for a lunch, which is going to be an hour, you are just going to exude pit barbecue for the rest of the day.
So is this a bug or a feature, Derek? Because
I guess I don't know, because maybe if I were to go into a barbecue restaurant and come out, it would up my charisma a little bit. Like, it would give me like a +1 to my charisma modifier for the rest of the day. Because it's like, Derek, I don't know what it is about you today, but you've got that special something. And that special something is smoked meat products.
This good wood smoke.
The thing is, we just need to stop with all the pretentious, being pretentious at the dinner table, and just wear a fucking bib. Like, just get you all the barbecue restaurants need to have those fucking lobster bibs. Obviously not with lobsters on it, because that would be confusing. But maybe have like
it would be real quality though. Like if you sit down at the the old Jim and Nick's and they're like, here's a Red Lobster bib. This is a high rent joint. Quality establishment you got here.
So you have the bib, and it doesn't have to be like physically appealing. Like, it doesn't have to be like one of those small bibs that looks a little somewhat fashionable. I mean, it can be fuck it, man. When I go to barbecue restaurant, just give me a fucking poncho. Like, that's what I want.
I was about to say, I think the only thing that's going to protect me at a barbecue restaurant from getting it on my clothes is going to be like an NBC suit.
Just with just like one hole for the part around the plastic around it that goes directly to your mouth, and everything else is blocked off.
I figure I'd probably just like miss that part, and I would get to sitting down, and my food would actually arrive, and then I would just kind of look at it and realize what I'd done and sigh.
Just smash it into your faceplate for a little while. If we're talking about foods that have like area of effect damage, like pork and spaghetti seem to be like two of the biggest ones, and like chicken wings. Those they have like such high splash damage that it is impossible to not wear some on your way out.
Like a Thai curry. There's a place in town
like a
called
necktie
Surin.
curry?
Yes, necktie curry is the worst possible food, named such because of its tendency to get all over your tie.
Right.
But yeah, there's a place in town that I eat at, and invariably, no matter what I do, I somehow manage to get that stuff splattered all over my shirt. Like, I literally, people will invite me to lunch, and I will look down to see what I'm wearing today, and then I'll have to do the mental math as to whether or not I actually like this fucking shirt that much. And or am I willing to look like an asshole for the rest of the day with shit smeared all over the front of my shirt, because invariably I go to this Thai place and I am coming out with curry on my shirt.
I kind of go with like the lumberjack chic a little bit with different colored plaids and at this point jeans because they don't let me wear shorts anymore. They don't want to see my
oh no, Derek,
my beautiful pasty legs.
And it's like 95 out already. Are you okay?
I am not okay, Frank. Work attire is important. I get it, but at the same time, you don't want a sweaty Derek at work. Like you want at best a mildly moist Derek. Now it's hard to prevent a mildly moist Derek. So you have to set your expectations somewhat in the middle, but you do not want a glistening Derek at all times. And the jeans are just because I started the job in February, so I kind of got like the cooler months, and it was already a little warm. Yeah, man, we are at like DEFCON 5 of swamp ass during the day.
We have reached Dagobah levels. See, the alternate, I think, is get a really absorbent tie. And then when you're at lunch, just go ahead and dip it directly into the soup so that you've got some for later. It's kind of like taking a doggy bag. This is going to happen one way or the other, so we might as well make the most of it. And I'm going to enjoy some of this curry a little later in the afternoon.
Like the inside of the tie is actually like some sort of bladder, so it just kind of like it's kind of like a little soup flask where you just kind of draw it up into the tie. In the meeting,
you kind of squeeze it to create suction, and then you stick it in there, and then you let it go, and it draws some of the soup up.
So, I mean, when you're in your meeting later in the afternoon, you're starting to get a little bit peckish, starting to feel your energy wane. Just suck up. Wait, that's drink some of your whatever broth. I
think we just call it the flavor saver.
But the mustache already has that title.
I suppose this is true.
Which, okay, let's talk about that for a moment. As somebody with a mustache, that is the grossest thing.
The worst possible name?
Yes. That's fucking disgusting. Like, I get that it's funny, but that is gross as hell.
Now, perhaps we get, because, men's grooming products are becoming popular. So we get a new line of men's grooming products that are specifically flavored mustache waxes.
Oh, God. Oh. So is this like the flavored lip gloss for men?
Exactly. It's flavored lip gloss for men, the mustache.
Oh.
And we'll call it the safer flavor, This has been the Work-Life Imbalance Podcast. I'm Frank Eastman.
I'm Derek Lewis.
And with that, I think we're going to have to transfer you.